today to continue the trial of the matter of State of Connecticut versus Raul Valle. The adjournment yesterday, the defendant, Mr. Valle, was on the stand. So I would ask Mr. Valle at this time to please take his place on the stand. Counsel, if you'd please place your appearances on the record for purposes of today's record.
Good morning, Your Honor. Mark Dorso for the State of Connecticut.
Good morning, Your Honor. Tatiana Messina for the State of Connecticut.
Mr. Valle, come up, have a seat. I just want to remind you, you do remain under the obligations of the oath that you took when you first entered the stand. Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor. Kevin Smith for the defendant, Mr. Valle.
Good morning. Is there anything that needs to be addressed by the court before bringing the jury in this morning?
I don't believe so, Your Honor.
Not from the defense, Your Honor.
All right. So, Attorney Smith, you were in the middle of your direct examination. I'll leave it to you or defer to you as to whether or not you would like to be standing at the podium or take the podium at the time the jury presents.
I'll go ahead and take the podium now, Your Honor. Sure.
So I just want to address with the attorneys before we bring the jury in. I do intend to first give the jurors an idea of what the schedule looks like, and I just want to make sure that I confirm that with all of you. So it's my understanding that informal conference, we left it at today. We will complete, I believe, the state's case. So I anticipate the state will rest sometime today. Does the defense, does the state anticipate any rebuttal?
At this time, no, Your Honor.
All right. So if, in fact, there is no rebuttal, then we would be off tomorrow. So there would not be any court session tomorrow on this particular trial. And then I would anticipate we would have closing arguments as well as the court's jury charge on Thursday. And so that would be July 3rd. We can conduct the charging conference on the record in the morning on the 3rd as well. And then obviously no court on the 4th. Deliberations, I would assume, would at least be able to start on Thursday the 3rd. And if we need to go into extra days, the next time we would reconvene would be on July 7th, which would be the following Monday. So that's the schedule that I'm going to provide the jury. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Welcome back. Good morning. Thank you. I would ask counsel to please stipulate to the return of the jurors.
State will stipulate, Your Honor.
Defense will stipulate, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we commence the proceedings, I just wanted to give you an idea of what the anticipated schedule is going to look like because I'm trying to keep you informed. I know that I said I would do that. Sometimes it's a bit difficult, and I apologize. However, I anticipate that today the defense will rest. I do not know whether or not we'll have any rebuttal on behalf of the state. I don't anticipate any at this time. That could change. So I do believe today will not be a full day, perhaps a half day at best of evidence. Once the evidence closes, of course, you still need to hear the closing arguments as well as the jury instructions as to how to apply the law to the facts you find as the jurors. In this particular case, we will not be in session tomorrow, so there would not be court for this trial tomorrow. That would bring us to July 3rd for closing arguments, the jury charge to you, and then the commencement of your deliberations at that point in time. We are not in session on July 4th. So if additional time is needed, and you'll be told that you'll take as much time as you need for your deliberations. So if additional time is needed, then we would be back to reconvene with deliberations on Monday, July 7th. Okay, until, of course, and it would be day to day until, of course, the jury indicates to the court that they are done with their deliberations. Okay? So I just wanted to give that information to you now, so if we have a morning recess and you need to reach out and adjust your schedules at all, you'll have an ability to do that, and you know what the rest of the week looks like. So thank you so much. All right, with that, when we adjourned yesterday, Mr. Valle was on the stand for his direct examination on behalf of the defense. I am going to, at this point in time, direct Attorney Smith to continue on with that direct examination. Thank you. Attorney Smith?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Valle. I'm going to remind you again, you've got to keep your voice up. You are soft-spoken. We are competing with the fans, but everybody's got to hear you, okay?
Yes.
Okay. So yesterday when we were here and we left off, I believe you had taken us to the front lawn of 43 Laurel Glen Drive. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And you were describing for us the scene there on that front lawn as you and Mr. DaSilva walked up to a group of individuals that had come out of the house. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay. And I believe that you had told us just shortly before we dispersed for the day that you thought there were about 10 people facing you and about 10 people facing Mr. DaSilva. Do you recall that?
Yes, but I'd say it was around 50 kids altogether.
50 kids altogether?
Yes.
Were you counting them? How can you be sure that there were 50 kids?
I wasn't able to see behind them because there were so many people.
It felt to you like there were 50 kids?
Yes.
But you weren't counting 50 kids?
No.
Do you recall how many kids? Do you recall yesterday you had described for us that there were essentially two groups that started to form, one that was dealing more with Mr. DaSilva and one that was dealing more with you?
Yes.
And how far away were you from Mr. DaSilva at that point?
Once the two groups started forming, it was hard to say how far Tyler was from me. I want to say 5-6 feet.
Okay. And you had described that he was trying to have some sort of a conversation with somebody that he was dealing with. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Were you trying to have a conversation with anybody? What were you doing at that point?
Yes. I was trying to have a conversation with Ryan Hines.
Ryan Hines was one of the people that was facing you?
Yes.
How many other people do you remember that you were dealing with in the group that was facing you?
After they separated into two groups, I want to say there was around 25 to 20 people just on me.
And where were they positioned?
At first, they were just in front. And then once they made the two separate groups, they were on both sides and in front of me.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes, thank you.
And I put back up there for us State's Exhibit 52 behind you on the easel. Where do you recall standing as this group starts to form around you?
I want to say around this area.
Did you see anybody around the red bush?
There was people everywhere.
Could you see anybody moving around behind the red bush?
No, I wasn't paying attention.
Okay. When you described being surrounded by this group that's facing you, were there some kids that were dealing with you more directly than the larger group?
Once they separated us into two groups, everyone was saying stuff.
You described interacting with Ryan Hines.
Yes.
Was he separate from the larger group in some way that you were dealing directly with him? Tell us how that worked.
He was just the person that I was talking to. There was people shoulder to shoulder with him, right next to him, on my sides, but he was the one that I started talking to directly.
Was he closest to you?
They were all the same distance from me.
Now, how far away from you were they?
Not even a foot.
That close to you?
Yeah.
Your Honor, I'd ask the witness to demonstrate with me what he was experiencing at that point.
If the witness is comfortable demonstrating, that's fine. Just please keep it in the well. Thank you.
Will you come down here, Mr. Valle, please?
Please, if there's going to be any statements, just make sure that you're keeping your voice up so the microphones can catch your statements. Thank you.
If I'm you, where is Ryan Hines?
Right here.
And is Ryan Hines as the same size as you?
At the time, I was a very small kid. I grew a lot since then.
And you're Ryan Hines. What is he doing?
First, we're just talking.
At some point, does he do something else?
Yes.
What?
After he starts yelling, I stuck my hand out as I was backing up from everybody, and he smacks my hand out.
Where were the other people that you've said were around him?
To my sides, in front of me, everywhere.
What did you do when he smacked your hand down?
I started slowly backing up even before that, and I continued to try and back up.
Take a stand, please. As you began to try to back up, what happened at that point?
I got hit.
Where did you get hit?
It was the side of my head, I want to say, but I couldn't really tell where.
And when you say it was the side of your head, could you tell which side?
I only found out after.
And how were you feeling at that point?
Everything just went black.
When you say everything went black, what's the next thing that you remember?
My face was in the ground.
Could you see where Tyler DaSilva was? What could you see?
Just the ground, and people were just stomping and kicking and punching everywhere.
Did you have the knife in your hand at that point?
No,
Where was the knife?
it was in my pocket.
Could you see any way to escape?
No,
Did you try to get up?
yeah,
Could you get up?
no.
Why not?
There was just so many people hitting me, and just everywhere.
What could you hear?
They were yelling, and just, it was so weird. They were just yelling like, I can't even describe it.
Did you hear anyone say, "Yes, sir"?
I heard a whole bunch of things I can't. That's a good thing.
Could you hear anything from Mr. DaSilva?
No,
Could you see the vehicle that you had arrived in, Jack Snyder's car?
no,
Could you see any way to make an escape from your position? Where were the other people that were kicking you, as you've described it?
all around me, on top of me, behind me.
Could you see who was on top of you?
No,
Could you tell what the person or persons that were on top of you were doing?
hitting me,
Where were they hitting you?
my head, the back of my head, kicking at the front of my face, my ribs, everywhere.
Did you get the sense that they were going to let you up and let you go?
Yeah.
What did you do at that point?
I went to cover my head in like a fetal position.
Did that seem to have any effect? What did you hope would happen if you went into the fetal position?
That they would stop.
Did they stop?
They did not.
Put us there on that lawn with you in the fetal position. What were you feeling?
Hopeless, scared, terrified.
Why hopeless?
Because they just weren't stopping.
How were you feeling physically?
Hurt.
What hurt?
Everything.
Did you lose consciousness?
After the first hit, yeah.
What happened next?
As I was in the fetal position, covering the sides of my head and the top of my head with my forehead into the dirt, I was almost like hunched over, and I reached in my pocket and grabbed the knife.
What were you thinking when your hand touched that knife?
It felt like the only thing that would help me.
What were you seeing at that point around you?
My face was in the dirt. I couldn't really see. I just felt nothing changed.
Could you see Tyler DaSilva?
No.
Could you hear Tyler DaSilva?
No.
What could you hear?
Still just the same screaming. That's it.
Did the group give any indication that they were going to stop or let you up?
No.
What happened next?
After I took the knife out of my pocket, I started waving and just stabbing in every direction. Just flailing my arm around.
Could you tell if you'd hit anything? Did that seem to have any effect on the attack?
No. It made me more scared.
Why did it make you more scared?
Because it didn't change what they were doing, and it didn't stop them from doing anything.
Were they still kicking you?
Yeah.
Was someone still on top of you?
Yeah, there were so many people on top of me.
Were you able to get up at that point?
No.
What happened next?
I kept flailing my arm around, just trying to get them away from me.
Were you aiming for anyone?
No.
Were you aiming for Ryan Hines?
No.
You weren't trying to kill Ryan Hines?
No.
What about Tommy Connery? You stabbed him 4 times in the leg. What were you trying to do to Tommy Connery?
Get them away from me.
Did there come a time when it was just you and Ryan Hines fighting one-on-one?
No.
Did there come a time when Tommy Connery separated you from Ryan Hines and was just there with you one-on-one, standing up?
No.
Where were you the entire time you were flailing? How were you feeling while you were flailing around with that knife?
More scared than before. Terrified. Just, it didn't make him stop even though I was flailing around a knife.
Could you tell how many people were around you at that point?
No.
What happened next?
It's in flashes, but I just remember getting shoved into the car.
Did there come a point where you were able to stand up? How did you get shoved to the car?
I remember while I was in the fetal position and like flailing my arm around, I like rolled on the back of my heels and tried to jump backwards.
Tried to jump backwards?
Yeah.
Can you show us what you're talking about? You come down here for the jurors.
Yeah. So I was like this,
Okay.
and I tried to get to my heels to like push myself backwards.
What happened?
It didn't work.
What do you mean it didn't work?
There was people behind me, and there was nowhere to move.
Were there people over top of you?
Yeah.
What do you remember that being like?
Chaotic and scared.
Take the stand again, please. So there came a time when you were able to stand up. Do you recall that?
No, I just remember somehow I got thrown into the car.
You got thrown into the car?
Yeah.
Okay. Could you see Tyler DaSilva at that point?
At one point, when I was at the car, I looked over and I saw Tyler DaSilva.
And what did you see Tyler DaSilva doing?
He was also on the ground getting beat on.
Could you tell how many people were beating him while he was on the ground?
I can't give a number.
And do you recall how many people were around you when you got shoved into the car, as you've described it?
As soon as I looked back, the first thing I was looking for was Tyler.
Okay. Did you see any of the people that had just been attacking you?
Yeah,
Where were they?
right on the edge of the lawn on the curb, somewhere on the street going back.
Did you see Ryan Hines anywhere?
No,
Did you know Tommy Connery before this?
no,
Did you know Ryan Hines before this?
no,
Did you know Faison Teal before this?
no,
Did you know Jimmy McGrath before this?
no.
You say you remember getting shoved to the car. Did you make it to the car eventually?
Yeah.
And what did you do when you were at the car?
As soon as I looked for Tyler, and I saw him getting beat on,
What was Jack Snyder doing?
nothing.
Did he say anything when you went to the car?
I didn't even open the car door all the way.
Why didn't you just get in that car and leave?
I saw my best friend, and somebody that I loved. Nobody was helping him.
How did you feel?
It was still terrifying. But I couldn't just let him be there alone. I felt like I had to save him.
Did you think that Jack Snyder was going to wait for you if you went back in there?
Objection as to what Jack Snyder was going to do.
Sustained.
Did you have any indication that Jack Snyder was going to wait for you?
No.
You didn't open that door at that point and take out that knife and then go back and stab those 4 kids.
No.
You already had that knife when you'd been attacked on the lawn the first time.
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Positive.
You weren't upset that you had been attacked and went back to get that knife? Had you known about that knife being in the car prior to that evening?
No.
When you got back to that car, you didn't get back into the car, right? Why didn't you just go running off back down the street, back down Farmhouse Lane towards, or down Laurel Glen towards Farmhouse?
Well, I just couldn't live town.
Why not?
He was my best friend. Looked at him like his brother. Like, what kind of man would I to just leave him there?
What did you worry might happen to him if you left him?
If he was in the same situation as me, I thought he was.
I'm gonna object. Calls for speculation as to what would happen to Tyler.
Sustained.
What were you worried about if you left and ran down to the end of Laurel Glen and Farmhouse Lane?
That Tyler wouldn't have made it out of there.
What happened next?
I found myself right on the edge of the grass and the curb.
How did you get there?
I just remember being there. I think I ran over.
What did you see when you got there?
Just another wall of people.
Did you see Tyler DaSilva?
No.
Did you cross paths with Tyler DaSilva?
Yeah.
You say another wall of people. Did you see Mr. Hines, who had been on top of you before?
I think so.
Did you recognize any other people that you saw there?
I saw a lot of people I didn't recognize, but I saw Matt Lockovich.
How did you know Matt Lockovich?
I've seen him at other parties before.
Did you go to school with Matt Lockovich?
I did not.
Do you know if he was older or younger than you or the same age?
I believe we were the same age.
Are you and Matt Lockovich the same size?
No. He was way bigger than me.
How did you feel at that moment?
Felt like the same thing was going to happen again.
Why didn't you just turn around and run back to the car?
There was no way I was going to be able to turn my back on that many people.
Why not?
I was just, there was no way to turn around without them really about to hit me or knock me down or something.
Did they give any indication that they were backing off?
No.
Did they start to back away from you as you stepped onto the lawn?
No, they stepped closer.
Where did you see people?
It was almost like a U, but wider.
Like a horseshoe?
Yeah.
Were there people to your right?
Yeah.
Were there people in front of you?
Yeah.
Did they give you any indication that they were just going to let you go?
No.
What did they do?
They stepped closer, and then I got hit.
You got hit?
Yeah.
Who hit you?
Came from the left side. I don't know exactly who hit me.
Where did they hit you?
In the right side of my head.
What did they hit you with?
I don't know. I think their hand.
How many people?
I don't know. As soon as they hit me, I fell, and I swung.
You told us before that you were wearing slides that night.
Yeah.
Were you still wearing the slides at this point?
No.
What happened to the slides?
They were gone. Just in my socks.
Was it wet on the grass that night?
Yes.
What else do you recall about being hit?
I just remember immediately after I got hit and fell, I swung.
What were you swinging at?
Anything.
What were you aiming for?
Anybody who was coming at me.
Did Matt Lockovich hit you?
I couldn't see who hit me.
Did Jimmy McGrath hit you?
I couldn't see who hit me.
When you swung that knife, did you feel it hit something?
No.
How were you feeling when you swung that knife?
Immediately after I swung, and I had one knee on the ground, I slipped, and I saw behind me.
What did you see behind you?
There was like a little hole, and I tried to jump and run away.
A little hole where?
So I swung and like threw my whole body into it, and I like slipped on the grass while my knee was down and faced backwards.
You're not asked the witness to come down and demonstrate this again. I think it's a little hard for me to understand what's described.
If the witness feels comfortable doing that, do you feel comfortable getting out of the witness box and demonstrating?
Yeah.
All right. Just again, please make sure to keep your voices up. I want to make sure that we capture any statements on the record.
You've described in your answers an interaction that I find hard to follow. I want you to show us what you mean by swinging, your knee going back. Demonstrate, please, for us what this is.
So stay here, man, on the ditch. Like this. Everybody like this. And then you hit me. And I'm like this.
Okay.
And I swung. After I swung, I ended up like this. I was facing backwards.
When you say you're facing backwards, which way are you facing now? Towards the road or towards the house?
Towards the road.
What did you do next?
I was on my hands and knees and I tried to like jump up.
Did you go to stab anybody else?
No.
Did you go to stab Mr. McGrath?
No.
You went to jump up?
Yeah.
Did something prevent you from being able to jump up, or did you succeed in jumping up?
As soon as I jumped up, I got hit again.
Where did you get hit?
On the left side of my head.
Do you know who hit you?
I believe it was Faison Teal.
Why do you believe it was Faison Teal?
Because I remember seeing the big dark colored arm.
What did you do next?
I fell on the pavement.
In the street or on the curb?
In the street.
You say you fell on the pavement. What did you feel?
I scraped my hands on the floor.
Where?
On the pavement.
Where did you scrape your hands? The tops, the bottoms, the fingers? Your palms?
Yes.
How are you feeling at that point emotionally?
Scared.
Why?
You know, once I was on the floor again, there's a chance that they could all surround me again.
Could you see Tyler DaSilva?
No.
Could you see the car that Jack Snyder was driving?
At that point, no.
What did you do next?
I tried to lunge myself up again. And then I dove towards the car.
Where were the kids that had been in the lawn prior?
In the road now.
Following you?
Yeah.
What happened next?
I got in the car.
Where did you get in the car?
The passenger seat.
Front? Rear?
Front.
Different than the seat you had been in when you went down to the house?
Yes.
Why did you get into the front passenger seat?
I was right there and I just wanted to get in as quick as possible.
Where was Tyler DaSilva?
At that point, he was not in the car.
Could you see where Tyler DaSilva was?
No.
What did Jack Snyder do?
He tried to drive off.
Without Tyler DaSilva in the car?
Yeah.
How did you feel when Jack Snyder did that?
I screamed and told him to wait.
Did there come a point when Tyler DaSilva got in the car?
Yeah.
Did you have the knife in your hand at this point?
No.
You put it back in your pocket.
No.
What did you do with the knife?
When I scraped my hands on the floor, the knife was on the floor.
The knife was on the floor?
Yes.
You're saying floor. You would agree there is no floor outside where you've been. What do you mean by floor?
The pavement.
Did you see where it went?
No.
Did you try to pick it back up?
No.
Why not?
I just wanted to get to the car.
Did you see Tyler DaSilva with the knife when he got into the car?
I didn't really look back.
When Tyler DaSilva got into the car, did you see him then?
Yeah.
What did he look like?
His face was destroyed. And he was holding his head in his hands.
Was he bleeding?
Yes.
Where?
All over his face. And it was like dripping down.
What was he doing?
He He was holding his head and screaming.
In pain?
And in anger.
Anger at the kids in the yard?
No.
Anger at you?
No.
Anger at who?
Jack.
Can we see Exhibit 60, please? Do we have it? Sorry, I'll grab it. We're going to watch Exhibit 60 here, Mr. Valle. What is this? 60. Can we just see the normal version? Young man, approach your side. Mr. Valle, you would agree that that video does not show the initial punch that you've described to the side of your face when the groups were standing up initially, correct?
Yes.
But you did see there at least one fight that's going on the ground, correct?
Yes.
That's not you, is it? Who's that?
Tyler DaSilva.
What was going on while we see Tyler DaSilva being beaten on the ground there before we see you back at the car?
I was getting beat on.
Could you see yourself in that video?
In the beginning, you can see people hitting and attacking, but you can't see me.
Is that the splitting up of the two groups that you've described?
Yes.
One stayed to, as we look at that, the left of the screen, and one went over to the right of the screen?
Yes.
And as this video ends, we see a figure that's on the far right of the frame, but we don't see you, correct?
Yes.
Where was that figure standing in relation to the U or horseshoe shape that you've described?
On the end.
On the, when you say the end, what do you mean?
On the end of the horseshoe.
Was there somebody to that person's left?
Yes.
Was there somebody across the way from that person behind you?
Yes.
Did you know who that person was that was on the far right that we can see there at the end of the frame?
No.
Do you know now that that's a person named Jimmy McGrath?
Yeah.
You did not know him that evening. You described getting back into Jack Snyder's car. Tyler DaSilva gets into the car. How are you feeling physically as you're sitting there in the car?
I was in a lot of pain.
Pain where?
My head. And the main thing I was noticing was my ribs.
What happened next? Did Mr. Snyder leave? Did you remain there in that place?
As soon as Tyler jumped in the back of the car, he instantly took off. We started driving.
Did you know where he was going at that point? Did you care where he was going at that point?
No, I just wanted to get out of there.
And where did Jack Snyder drive the car?
He was just driving straight. And then at one point I told him to stop the car.
Why'd you tell him to stop the car?
I wanted to check my ribs.
You wanted to check your ribs?
Yeah.
Why couldn't you check your ribs just sitting there in the seat?
Because I wasn't able to stand up and look at my whole body.
Did he stop the car?
Yes.
What did you do?
Opened the door, immediately got out and used the car light, lifted up my shirt.
Used what car light?
Like, as soon as you open the door, the car light turns on. I was facing the car, right in where the door turns, lifted up my shirt, looked at myself, and then jumped back in the car.
I want to be sure we understand this. When you say you're using the car light, do you mean the interior car light or the headlights on the car?
Interior car light.
So you're facing into the interior of the car?
Yes.
And what do you do?
Lift up my shirt and look at myself.
And what did you see?
A whole bunch of bruises, but it felt way worse than what it looked like.
As you're standing there, did you take the knife out of your pocket and throw it into the woods?
I didn't have the knife at that point.
You didn't have the knife at that point.
No.
Where was the knife?
To my understanding, it was on the pavement back over at 43 Laurel Glen.
Did you make a plan to go back and get the knife?
No.
Why not?
I didn't want to go anywhere near that house.
Did Jack Snyder indicate to you that he wanted his knife back?
No.
What happened after you got out of the vehicle and used the interior light to inspect your midsection?
It lasted like a second or two, and I jumped back in the car.
And what happened after you jumped back in the car?
Jack started driving.
Did you know where he was going? How were you feeling at that point?
Still terrified and shocked. And I looked down and I was shaking.
What was Tyler DaSilva doing?
He was still screaming at Jack and holding his head.
What was Jack Snyder doing?
Nothing.
Did there come a time when the car stopped again?
Yes.
Did you recognize where you were at that point?
No. I just saw a car I recognized, which was McKenzie's sister's car.
Who is Mackenzie's sister?
Madison Traficante.
Okay. And where was that you saw her car?
I just remember seeing it in the street.
Was that a street that you recognized from earlier in the evening, or was this somewhere else?
I can't remember. I just remember seeing the car and instantly wanting to get out and go in that car.
And what did Jack Snyder do at that point?
Stop the car and let me out.
And what did Tyler DaSilva do at that point?
I didn't turn around. I don't know.
What did you do?
I went over and I got into Madison's car,
Where?
behind the passenger seat.
Who else was in the vehicle when you got in?
Keenan and Dimitri.
Keenan Frasick?
Yes.
Dimitri Arfanis?
Yes.
Will Sinjwald?
No.
Will Sinjwald was one of the people that had come with you earlier in Jack Snyder's car, correct?
Yes.
He wasn't in Jack Snyder's vehicle when you got out of it?
No.
And he wasn't in Madison's car when you got into it?
No.
So in the vehicle at that point, it's just you, Madison, McKenzie, Keenan, and Dimitri?
Yes.
Was the music on in the car?
Yes.
Were you texting in the group chat at that point?
No.
What was Dimitri Arfanis doing?
I didn't look over.
And what was Keenan Frasick doing?
As soon as I got in the car and it started driving, he was looking at me.
He was looking at you?
Yes.
What were you doing?
holding my head.
What were you thinking?
I was just in shock, scared. I didn't really know what to think.
Did you call the cops?
No.
Why not?
I was just terrified. I didn't even know what to do. Or really what even happened.
And where did the car go?
Started driving to Keenan Frazek's house.
What happened there?
He and Dimitri got out.
He and Dimitri both got out at Keenan's house?
Yes.
So now it's just you, McKenzie, and Madison in the car?
Yes.
And what's going on in the car at that point?
Nothing. I knew my girlfriend was still upset. Didn't want to talk or anything.
And what were you doing?
Holding my head and looking at myself. I was just shaking and I didn't even know what to do.
Where did the car go then?
We drove to my house in Milford.
How long did that take?
I can't remember.
Did there come a time when you arrived at home?
Yes.
What did you do then?
Before I opened my car door and I asked McKenzie to talk to her.
Would she talk to you?
No.
What did you do?
I just walked up to my house.
Was anybody home?
Yes.
Who?
My mom and my little brother.
And what were they doing?
They were packing to go to Florida.
What was their reaction when they saw you?
My mom just started screaming and crying. My brother was just like holding his mouth open.
Did you explain how you'd been injured?
At that point, I didn't really know what to say. I couldn't even understand really what had happened, detail for detail. I remember telling her that I got attacked by a whole bunch of people. She just kept screaming and crying.
And what did you do then?
Started crying. And then I remember going upstairs to the bathroom, just washing myself off.
What time was this?
I don't really know.
Did you go to sleep?
No.
What did you do?
It was just, my mom was panicking. And she asked me if I wanted to come to Florida with her.
What did you do at that point?
I said yes.
Why?
Just wanted to be close to my mom.
Did you go to sleep at some point?
No,
Why not?
I couldn't sleep.
What made it so that you couldn't sleep?
Everything. The way I was feeling, mentally and physically, just, there was no way I was going to be able to sleep.
What did you do?
Everything was so fast. I think I packed like a little backpack, and then we left.
Okay. While you were packing, did anyone try to contact you?
Yes,
Who?
McKenzie, my girlfriend at the time.
She sent you some texts.
Yes.
We saw those texts here, those exhibits.
Yes.
How did it make you feel when you read those texts as they were coming in from McKenzie?
It just reminded me how I felt at the time when she was texting me and stuff.
show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 97. Well, I'm gonna try. Okay. State's Exhibit 97. Do you remember those texts coming in?
Yeah.
She writes, "Are you fucking serious? I hate you. Someone just called me and said you stabbed someone. You just ruined everything, Lito. Literally ruined everything for me. Answer the M phone. IDK what to do. Everyone is texting me." I want you to read for us. What did you write back?
I didn't do anything. I wasn't there. Stop texting anyone. Stop answering.
I'll show you State's Exhibit 98. She says, "Lito, everyone knows who you are. Everyone knows you're my boyfriend. What do you say?"
I know.
"Lito, everyone's texting me. What do you say?"
Stop answering. What happened?
"Don't talk to me." What do you say?
Okay, stop answering anyone.
She says, "You fucked up, Lito." What do you say?
How? I wasn't there.
"If my parents find out," State's Exhibit 99, "stop saying that." You say what?
Okay, stop texting, please, Kens.
"I'm not texting anyone." What do you say?
Don't text me. I'm going to Florida.
She says, "They're texting me. When? Lito, I need you to answer me, please." What do you say?
What, Kens?
And she says, "I'm so scared. What's going on?" In State's Exhibit 100, "I'm shaking," she says. "Can you please tell me? I won't tell anyone, I swear." What do you say?
I can't text anything.
She says, "I'm so scared," and you say what?
I wasn't there.
She says, "What's happening?" And what do you say?
No, I wasn't there.
She says, "I'm so scared, Lito." "What's happening? Please answer me." What do you say?
Nothing is happening.
State's Exhibit 101, she says, "Can you please call me? Can you call me, please? When I get home." And you say what?
Yes.
She says, "Lito, his sister just texted me. I'm so scared. I don't want to look." What do you say?
What did she say? Swipe it.
She says, "IDK, I'm so scared." And what do you say?
Don't answer anyone.
How fast were those texts going back and forth?
One right after another.
Were some of them coming in before you could finish the other one?
Yeah.
What were you thinking while you're writing those texts?
Overwhelmed and shocked. And I just didn't want her to worry.
Were you thinking you could concoct some sort of a story that no one would know you'd been there?
I'm object, it's leading.
Sustained.
You knew you had been there, did you not?
Yeah.
Or objection, it's leading.
Sustained.
Has to be stricken.
Total strike, the answer. Jerry, please remove it from your notes.
Did you expect her to believe that you had not been there?
Objection, that calls for speculation as to what she would believe.
Let me hear the question again.
Did you expect her to believe that you had not been there?
Overrule, it goes to his expectations. You can also.
No. I knew she knew I was there because she was with me.
Why did you say those things to her in that text?
Panicking, and I just didn't want her to worry at all.
At that point, did you think that someone had died?
No.
What did you do after this chain of texts?
I remember trying to call Tyler.
Tyler DaSilva? Why did you try to call Tyler DaSilva?
See if he was okay, what was going on. Called him 3 times, but he never answered.
Have you spoken to Tyler DaSilva since that night? What did you do next?
Went with my mom. We got in the car and we drove to the airport.
Where did you go?
Florida.
Was that the next day, May 15th?
Yes.
What did you do when you got to Florida?
We were getting out of the airport, and we were going to a car rental. And that's when I found out what had happened.
When you say what had happened, what did you find out?
Like the injuries and stuff.
What did you find out?
That somebody died.
How did you feel when you learned that?
I kept saying, no way. Like, that's not possible.
What did you do next?
I went over to my mom, and I told her.
Did you stay in Florida?
Yeah,
How long?
like a day, maybe?
When did you return to Connecticut?
Not sure, a day or two.
And did there come a time when you were contacted by the police?
My parents were. Not me.
And did you learn that the police were interested in your parents or interested in you?
And me.
And what did you learn about why they had contacted you?
That somebody had passed away.
Did you learn at some point that they had an arrest warrant for you?
Yeah.
How soon after you got back to Connecticut did you learn that?
I can't remember. It seemed like 4 days or something. May have been shorter. I can't really remember.
When you learned that they had an arrest warrant for you, what did you do?
At the time when it came out, I was sleeping.
What time was that?
Middle of the day.
And what did you do at that point?
I woke up and I talked to my father.
Did you make arrangements to turn yourself in?
Yeah.
Did you go and turn yourself in?
Yeah.
Just one try.
Oh, that's fine. Thank you.
Mr. DaSilva, I'm going to show you some exhibits that have already been entered. There's been testimony that these are from May 18th, when you turned yourself in. Do you remember what time you went down to the Shelby PD to turn yourself in?
I remember it being really late at night.
Did you go by yourself?
No,
Who was with you?
my father.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 34. Do you remember this photograph being taken?
Yeah.
Where was that taken?
I believe it was at the show and police department.
I'll show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 35. Was that taken at the same time?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 36. That photograph also taken at the same time?
Yes.
Can you see in there your eye, your what appears to be your left eye?
Yeah.
And does that accurately reflect the injuries that you had at that point?
At that point, yeah.
And I'm going to show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit 37. Is that the back of your head?
Yeah.
State's Exhibit 38. That the left side of the back of your head?
Yeah.
And where do you recall getting hit that evening when you were first encountering the people on the lawn?
The back of my head.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 39. Is that your right arm inside near the elbow?
Yeah.
Do you recall how you got these 1, 2, 3 scratches and some bruising?
No.
Did you have that before you were on the lawn that night?
No.
I'll show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 40. Is that your right hand?
Yeah.
And how did you get this injury to the heel of your right hand?
I was trying to run back to the car. I got hit and my hand slid on the pavement.
This is State's Exhibit 41. How did you get this injury on the heel of your left hand?
The same as the one on my right hand.
Are you left-handed or right-handed, sir?
Right-handed.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 42 at the top of your right hand.
Yes.
And State's Exhibit 43 is at the top of your left hand.
Yes.
Did the police ever approach you and ask you if you wanted to perhaps talk to them in return for an immunity agreement from prosecution?
I'm going to object. Calls for hearsay as to what the police asked.
Can you excuse the jury for a moment? So it calls for a yes or no response.
The question is also inflammatory. And it would also indicate, again, the defendant has Fifth Amendment rights, and there was testimony about the police going to try to talk to him. So now that it's out, I would submit that it's fair game for me to ask him on cross-examination whether or not he willfully went to the police to tell him his side of the story, which he did not. So with regards to what the police asked him, I think is hearsay. I think the question can be posed without content in the question. We can rephrase it without any content in the question. If it's a yes or no answer, then clearly it's leading as well.
Your Honor, I could rephrase as whether or not he was ever offered such an opportunity.
Again, it
That
calls
certainly goes to his knowledge.
Okay, Attorney Smith, you could be walking down a slippery slope with that. Your client is subject to cross-examination. I don't know what the actions of the police department were at this point in time, but certainly it'll allow the state the opportunity to explore if in fact there was such communication or any questions or anything leading to such communication and or the decision. So
I understand. Again, I think that whether or not he was ever offered such an agreement is fair game as far as to ask the question. I don't intend to go any further into it beyond that. I am not aware of any offers being made to him to do so. To the extent that he was ever offered an opportunity to come down and speak with the police, I think that he can be asked about that.
I would also submit that the police department is not under the authority to offer him any type of agreement with regards to that. That comes from the state's attorney. So with regards to that, if he had a conversation with the state's attorney or this office, that would be the appropriate question. Outside of that, when the answer is no, then there's nothing further to explore.
Okay, so I want to be very clear here. So we're dealing with, first of all, a right to remain silent, potentially, post Miranda. We're also dealing with an improper form of the question relative to who has the authority to provide an immunity agreement. Obviously, it would not be the police who would provide the agreement. So if it's relative to asking what the state police, what the state's attorney's offer, that's one thing. The attorney needs to be in the question and not the police. And perhaps that's the appropriate way to get around the Miranda right, because
I can make it more general.
we're talking about what the police questioned the defendant and what was said, and we don't have to get into whether or not the defendant was willing to invoke his right to remain silent or speak.
I can make it more general, Your Honor, and simply ask him whether or not he was ever offered the opportunity to sign or whether he was offered an immunity agreement. I could simply make it as
Well, really,
general as that.
The question is inflammatory. I think we need to lay some type of foundation to get there. The question needs to be posed, did you ever speak to the state's attorney with regards to this investigation? No, I did not. The inquiry ends there. It doesn't go any further about any immunity agreement or anything else. So the question is inflammatory. It's being posed to inflame the jury's senses at this point. I think there's got to be a foundation to even get there.
He's here to testify, Your Honor. And I could simply ask him, are you here testifying today under any immunity agreement?
That's leading. So that's a leading question. So I'm here testifying on my own behalf. That's
because
it.
a leading question is a question that it suggests the
Correct.
answer. So if I were to say to you, you, sir, are not here today underneath an immunity agreement, are you?
It does call for yes, sir, but it's not leading with respect to the response being contained in the question. I will allow that question. The state's attorney is going to have an opportunity to cross-examine. However, the state's attorney should be very careful about approaching any type of.
But this is opening post Miranda inquiries now, because now the arrest warrant has been signed. He's entitled to Miranda warnings, and now we're being asked whether or not we're approaching him or he's approaching us for some immunity agreement post arrest.
And I will withdraw that question, Your Honor, with regard to the police officer. I will do that, and I'll do that in the jury's presence. But I do think that it's fair for me to ask him, sir, are you here today testifying under any immunity agreement? I don't see how that's unfair.
See this cross-examination. If you offered one, you offered one.
Well, my concern now is if that is the question, I think it opens the door to any post Miranda question. That's all I'm saying. In other words, I should be able.
Let me get into that a little bit further. Are you telling the court outside the presence of the jury that you did offer an immunity agreement? Because if you didn't, then it ends there.
There was no such conversation. It never was had. So if the conversation was had with this defendant, then it makes the subsequent question relevant. This question is not relevant. It's just, why are you here today? I'm here to testify. That's it. Has nothing to do with immunity.
Sure, I think his incentive to be here and testify, and whether or not he's testifying under an immunity agreement is fair game. Other witnesses have been here, and we've asked them about it.
The jury can infer he's not under an immunity agreement because he's charged with homicide and 3 counts of assault. So really, the question is inflammatory. He's being prosecuted.
He wasn't charged with 5 lazy broke.
Okay. So.
Can we approach, please?
We'll stipulate on the record. The presence of all jurors. Attorney Smith, you may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Questions withdrawn.
Last question is withdrawn. Mr. Valle, you're here today testifying voluntarily.
Yes.
No promises, threats, anything like that have been made against you.
No. Are you asking if I was offered?
Objection. Ask that it be stricken.
But anything after yes, no, in response to the answer is going to be stricken from evidence. All right, it's non-responsive. Thank you.
Had you ever seen Jack Snyder's knife before that night?
No.
Have you ever seen Jack Snyder's knife since that night?
No.
Had you ever used a knife as a weapon before that night?
No.
Had you ever met Ryan Hines before that night?
No.
Had you ever met Faison Teal before that night?
No.
Had you ever met Tommy Connery before that night?
No.
Had you ever met Jimmy McGrath before that night?
No.
You told us before that you knew some of the folks at that party on social. Do you remember telling us that?
I believe so, yes.
What in the world does that mean to know somebody on social?
On social gatherings, like parties, on social media, just that kind of thing.
Even these folks that you say you knew on social, did you feel like you knew them well?
No.
Did you want to kill any of those kids?
No.
Did you want to hurt any of those kids?
No.
What did you want to do when you were down there on that ground and all those fists were punching you and those legs were kicking you?
Get them away from me.
Why did you use that knife that Jack Snyder gave you?
I'm going to object. This is asked and answered at this point.
All
Felt like the only thing that was gonna help me get out of that situation.
Thank you, Mr. Valle. Nothing further.
Thank you.
right. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we are going to move into our recess, so we will have our morning 15-minute recess, and then we'll come back for the cross-examination of Mr. Valle. All right, the court stands in recess for 15 minutes.